Hey, what's going on, guys? Kalamazi here. In today's video, we'll be talking to you about Week 1 Aberrus from a Warlock POV, looking at sims for Destro, Demo, and AF before you get your tier sets, then looking at tier set sims and looking at some racial sims. I've been getting a lot of questions about what should I play Week 1, Day 1 of Aberrus before a new tier. So this video should hopefully help answer those questions you guys have, well, been having. Like always, Week Wars add-ons down below to Twitch and Discord. We're all for free for you guys. And to a similar extent, if you want to support on Patreon or follow any kind of social media links, they're all up here for you guys. And yeah, let's just get right on into it. So getting into raw sims here. These sims are from my own character 5 hours ago with 10.0 Vault the Incarnate's gear, and I'm like 423 eye level, I believe, somewhere around there. We are indeed playing Vault tier, as you can see here, 2-piece, 4-piece, all that. Destruction, Demonology, and Affliction. Now, Destruction is the highest simming spec in the game, I believe, currently on retail before 10.1 or Aberrus actually opens up, and it's ahead by a considerable margin compared to Affliction and, unsurprisingly, being Demonology being last here. And we talked a bit about it on stream and on previous videos I put out here recently. I talked about it today as well with Max on stream. Demonology in 10.1 is very strong, but the core of Demonology, talent-wise, ability-wise, all that tuning-wise, is not really getting any stronger. It's sort of borrowed power in a sense. I use that not in a negative light, but it's your tier set. Your 2-piece, Sinking Grimoire. Your 4-piece, giving you basically a double demonic tyrant value, with Grimoire giving you bonus pet damage. It's your Clash Trinket, being very strong, essentially a double on use effect, because it triggers whenever you cast your Tyrant. It's Iridius Fragment or Talon being paired with your Clash Trinket for double on use whenever you pop your Tyrant. And on top of that, Demonology is the best power infusion target in the game when you have all those effects. We compared it to the Infinity Gauntlet earlier, and if you acquire all those pieces, if you acquire all the stones, I didn't watch Avengers, but I think it's the stones, Demonology will destroy. But if you're missing certain things, missing power infusion, the biggest one missing your Clash Trinket, Demonology is still strong, but it is not necessarily the best option because Destro, even in current sims, is actually relatively close to Demo in 10.1 without all the external resources in your Clash Trinket. So once again here, these sims, getting back to this is 10.0 sims. Destro's ahead by a good bit, AF being in second, and Demonology in third. There are a lot of patchwork fights in this raid. There is a decent chance that I play Destruction a lot Week 1, just due to its strong single target profile. If not, maybe a bit of Affliction play on certain fights. I don't think Demo's bad on some fights either. It likely sees play possibly on Zakali Assault, might be more Destro play there, quite possibly on Scale Commander Sarkaleth, and a few other fights in between. But to answer your questions, and we'll look at individual boss breakdowns in a little bit here briefly for each spec, you're likely going to see a lot of Destro Week 1, clearing out normal, clearing out heroic, and depending on your, honestly, what you acquire Week 1, if you get your rare trinket or not, maybe even heading into Mythic from a lot of Warlock POVs in a Race to World first setting. Now, jumping into tier set sims. So, off the bat, for all these sims, we have AF, Demo, Destro. So, when it comes to Aberrus tier, I have indeed factored in the higher eye level. All the Aberrus pieces, whether it's 2-piece, being just 2 pieces here. The Aberrus part is going to be heroic eye level, 434, I believe, roughly. And the 4-piece here is going to be all 434, 431, somewhere around there. Now, the gains here are due to partial eye level being increased from your tier bonus just being, or tier pieces being higher in 10.1, the new raid, and also, you know, possibly due to the actual bonus just being stronger than what it was in Vault. Now, Affliction, interestingly enough, I'm surprised that the 2-piece is actually ahead of Vault 4-piece. From what I had seen, I thought I had seen at least that it wasn't really worth breaking your 4-piece from Vault until you got Aberrus 4-piece. So apparently that's not the case, I guess, anymore in Sims. So it looks like when you acquire your Aberrus 2-piece at a heroic eye level, I'm comparing this to a Mythic tier level where I'm wearing currently on retail, you're going to gain about 1.6k DPS roughly, 1.6% DPS at about 100k, and it looks to indeed be worth breaking your 4-piece from Vault with 2-piece Vault and 2-piece Aberrus set. And then obviously on top here we have Aberrus 4-piece, giving you a larger eye level increase as well as just, you know, a stronger bonus in general, gaining about 5k DPS over Vault 4-piece for my character, and about a 5% gain roughly. Now, this sim here, if we go into this, looking at the Aberrus 4-piece, I've run 2 sims for each spec. This sim here is indeed playing the Clash Trinket Neltharian's Call the Dominance, which is not the best for Affliction, but not horrendous either. It's okay, sort of middle ground. Dark Lair doesn't do a whole lot of damage, but that's that. If we shift gears here, shifting straight up to not playing Neltharian's Call the Dominance, and just straight up playing things from retail right now. Playing Whispering Incarnate Icon, and we're playing Iridius Fragment. It's fine. You can mess with it a bit either way. We swapped out Clash Trinket for Incarnate Icon. Not much really changes here, though. You go from being 1.6 to 1.7 in the 2-piece, likely just the actual margin of error here. And the 4-piece is basically exactly the same. So it looks pretty consistent across the board. AF, once 2-piece, then eventually 4-piece, whenever you can get it, obviously. That looks to be that. And moving on to destruction here, Destro is actually pretty interesting. So the first sim here is 1069, and the second sim is 1086. But can you guess which one is the class trinket sim, which one is not the class trinket sim? Interestingly enough, the Aberrus 4-piece at 106937, this is actually destruction with its class trinket. The class trinket is not very good for Destro much anymore because of the change they made to blasphemies no longer proccing the class trinket. Now, blasphemies were awkward in the first place anyways, proccing it, because you really couldn't stack the effect anymore. But it's even worse now because you have the effect basically once every 3 minutes, and your Infernal doesn't really do much in the first place anymore because, well, you know, it's not very strong anymore. Either way, acquiring Aberrus 4-piece, keeping the rest of my gear the same, playing class trinket about 106937, or no class trinket, playing just straight up Incarnate Icon, sitting at about 108696. So we can take this sim, essentially compare it to this sim here, AF being about 102834. In current gear, just slotting in 4 pieces of Aberrus here, comparatively to 108696 for destruction. So Destro ahead by about 6000 DPS, not very surprising. Moving on to Demonology, however, can you guess which one is the class trinket sim? The 115,000 DPS sim is indeed the class trinket sim for Demo. Just to verify, going past all these pets here, good lord. Here, there is your class trinket. Now, they're going to call it the dominance. 115,125 DPS. Obviously, your 2-piece being in gain here, just how it was for both Destro and Affliction. 4-piece being a whopping 14% increase over your current 4-piece from Vault of the Incarnates, sitting at about 115,000 DPS. Now, if you change out your class trinket and just play Whispering Incarnate Icon and Iridius Fragment, you're sitting at about 107.5k DPS, and looking at a decent gain here still too, 13.3 comparatively to 13.9. But once again, Destro is the highest semi-spec out of all 3 of these because Demonology has not completed the Infinity Gauntlet yet. It hasn't done it. Hasn't gotten the class trinket. It has here. Hasn't done it here. Hasn't gotten class trinket. It might have 2-piece, 4-piece. There's no PI in these sims, but class trinket is very, very important for Demonology. Demonology at its core is fine. It's strong. It's an overall like solid spec, but if you don't have all the pieces for it, mainly the class trinket, it's not as insane as it may have seemed during a lot of PTR testing. So if tuning does come, I'm really hoping it's not the Demonology and like the actual spec, and just more so to borrow power being tier set, or likely the class trinket. Because let's be honest, the class trinket's pretty wild for us. We had the best trinket. Whenever you pop your cooldown, your Tyrant, Infernal, or Dark Lair, it's so bad I forgot what it is, you get the actual bonus, compared to the other 2 trinkets being, if you cast AoE spells, or if dots do damage or something weird, you might get a proc. This is, hey, you're popping CDs, you're guaranteed the effect. And guess what? You can also just pop another on-use trinket for double on-use with every single CD. So if you think about it, it makes sense as to why Demo is very strong. And that's that. So if you're looking at it with class trinkets, what is it again here? Here's Demo class trinket. Yeah, Affliction's looking at 104. AF's looking at... Affliction at 105, basically. Demonology at 115. And Destruction sitting at about 106, 107 roughly. But if you're putting aside class trinket, it is Destro at about 108.7. Once again, playing all retail gear, barring the new 4-piece increased eye level and Iridius Fragment, 1087, followed by Demonology at 1075, and then Affliction at 1028. So Destro could be a bit sleeper heading into Aberrus, even after you acquire your 4-piece, depending on the fight and depending on, well, the luck of the draw. Moving on to the last sims here. This is very brief. People have been asking a lot about, hey, how is Troll looking comparatively to Orc? Because, you know, we're playing another Portal now for Demonology. Whether you're playing the Sack Souls build with Portal, or you're playing the other Portal build with, you know, Expendables and things, you're still playing another Portal. You're still playing Pit Lord. Well, I've run sims. Troll is actually pulled ahead by about 700 DPS from what I've seen comparatively in basically every sim. Here is the Sack Souls build with Demonology. This build's playing full Nether Portal, full Pit Lord, all that. You're playing Sack Souls over Expendables and whatever this is, and Torn Armaments and Expendables. You're playing Sack Souls. To a similar extent, you're playing Val Covenant over Imp Gang Boss. It's about a 700 DPS increase to play a Troll. However, looking at this, playing this build here, this is the Imp Gang boss, the Imp Gang boss armaments, expendables row. It's still about a 600 DPS gain, even shifting more to the Immutable Hatred Nether Portal build. This build only plays Nether Portal, the talent, and not Ner'zhul's or Gul'dan's. There's no Pit Lord here. It's still a 250-ish DPS gain, once again, because of Nether Portal, mostly being so strong, having Berserking during Nether Portal, having that haste amp increases Tyrant value, more swings, Pit Lord value, more swings. And, like, honestly, when your damage profile looks like this, I mean, it sort of makes sense. You burst to 500,000 damage, you come down to 40k. Burst to 200k, whatever, come down to 40k. You burst to 400k, come down to 40k. It makes sense. If you can front load as many CDs as possible into that build, Berserking lining up perfectly with this, well, it makes sense. And also, I ran some Destro sims here. Trolls ahead as well, by about 700 DPS. 3-minute Infernal, all the above. Not as impactful necessarily for Destro, but I mean, it's still there, so yeah, let's briefly look at each boss in Aberrus from a week 1 POV playing 10.0 Vault tier. So when it comes to Aberrus, week 1, once again, playing your Vault of the Incarnates tier. This is my character currently on retail, playing this gear, Whispering Incarnate icon, all this stuff here, without having Aberrus tier, without having the strong demo tier, not having access to Clash Trinket or anything like that. Looking at the sims earlier, Destro being the highest, followed by Af, and then Demonology. I think you're going to see a lot of Destro week 1. Kazara being a pure patchwork boss. There's a bit of, at times, unplanned, hectic kind of movement if you get a laser on you. But for the most part, we played Destro on this boss on PTR. And if you didn't have to move for lasers a crazy amount, Destro cranked in this boss. And Demo will not have its power level. Demo will not have the 4-piece. It won't have Clash Trinket. You might get PI, which is still strong for Demonology, but you can't guarantee PI depending on the guild you're in or what setting you're in. And you probably won't even have a Iridius Fragment at that point either yet to further pair with Nether Portal. So Kazara could very easily likely be a Destro boss in single target. Amalgamation Chamber is Destro. It's 2 targets to comes into one, forms 1 ad when they're at half health, basically. Easy Destro fight. Forgotten Experiments on Heroic is different from Mythic. So on Mythic, when 1 ad reaches half health, when the current boss does, the next boss will jump down, so on and so forth. There are 3 bosses. On Heroic, you just kill 1 at a time. That's it. So there is a lot of movement in the fight at times, depending on mechanics or RNG. It's likely going to be a Destro fight again. You can play Af if you want, being second highest. You can play Demonology as well, but once again, Destro's the highest spec in current retail sims. So you're likely not going to have any tier at this point. So yeah, probably more of a Destro fight. Rashok is a heavy movement fight. I wouldn't be surprised. I think it might be similar to Teros, where you see a lot of Affliction being played here due to how much movement there is in this fight. It's likely going to be an Af or Destro angle. You might see Demonology played here as well, because Demo is good at movement, but I'm going to sort of say it quite possibly is an Af angle. All 3 specs are fine here, but I'm going to lean towards Af, with the possibility of Destro being played a bit more, just due to how strong it is regardless. But once again, a lot of random movement in this fight. Assault of the Zakal is an interesting one. This is your meat grinder of the tier. We saw it during PTR testing, all of that. You're likely playing Destro here. It's Demo or Destro. Af's AoE profile is fine. Probably not as strong in the consistent AoE setting. Probably just playing Demo or Destro here. I'm going to lean towards Destro. Both are probably fine. But once again, Demo won't have its tier, but at the same time, it's still good at doing sustained AoE. If you need more damage on shielding ads, I forget what they're called, if they're overtuned, Demonology could be the play here, playing Ring of Tyranny to blast the shields down, but it very easily could be a Destro angle. Just AoE everything down and hope for the best. Inferno value, Rain of Fire spam, really can't go wrong. Zaskarn is a heavy movement fight. However, even on Mythic, when you acquire gear on this fight in Aberrus, this could be a Destro fight in disguise. It's likely Demo or Destro due to the stat cleave profile with the ads that spawn every once in a while. I wouldn't be surprised if Destro playing Mayhem does well in this fight if you're not CCing ads, because it's random procs of just Havoc base cleave, but at the same time, with the ads being so volatile and it's all over the place at times, it likely is it might not be a bad angle, similar to how Kurog sort of was, being able to randomly proc and funnel more damage into the boss. There's a lot of movement in this fight though at the same time. So I'm leaning a bit more towards Demonology here, but it could be a Destro angle, maybe Mythic, or maybe even just in general in Heroic. You can play Af as well, but the ads died relatively fast, and you weren't really able to get value on the ads quickly playing Affliction, but I'm going to lean towards Demo here. Probably look at that week 1, but see where it goes. Magma Rocks, a single target fight again. Likely a Destro, maybe AF angle, but I'm pretty sure with how this fight's structured, we had teams that soaked the pools, moved around. I wasn't in them. I stayed pretty much still for the most part, but I don't think this fight is incredibly heavy movement. For the most part, this is likely a Destro angle, honestly. Destro simming 10k, 12k higher than Demo week 1. I think you start just playing pure single target Destro here and see where it goes. And keep in mind, Destro is not playing CDF until you get your 4-piece from the, well, I guess 2-piece from the raid. 2-piece, 4-piece, we'll see where it goes with that. I didn't run those sims. We'll see where that goes when we get there. But either way, likely a Destro angle. Now, Therian, quite possibly also a Destro angle. During testing, this fight was... Destro was bugged, doing more damage than it should have been doing, but it's a pure single target fight in phase 1. In phase 2, there's the boss and a prio ad that spawns, which is very important to cleave down. In phase 3, there's a lot of AoE with small ads running around, so maybe you try and find a way to fit in Rain of Fire in there somewhere, but either way, this could be a good Destro fight for phase 1 and phase 2. At the same time, Demo can have a lot of damage in this fight too, in phase 3, with Implosion, Cleave, Dog Cleave, Fellstorm Cleave, all the above. So both specs are fine here. I think there's a decent chance you see Destro played in this fight though. Just playing a decent single target build with some Havoc Cleave in there, maybe working in Rain of Fire. Both are fine, but during testing, even without bug Destro, it was likely the play during PTR testing. In Scale Commander, I think it's a Demo fight. There's ads that spawn every so often in phase 2. From what I've seen here, it's a pure single target fight besides that. Week 1, it could be an AF angle with seed spam. Not really sure. It could just be a Demo angle regardless. Once again, Demo not as good as Destro on single target, but you have that stack profile, Implosion, Fellstorm, Dreadlash, all that. So you can't really go wrong with the fight being designed this way and playing Demonology. So hopefully that helped with week 1. In the end, I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Tuning can still come, but either way, Lock looks strong in Aberrus. So thanks for watching, guys. That should wrap it up. Hopefully it answered the questions you might have had about Warlock heading into week 1 of Aberrus, which is in... like 3 days, goodness. I fly out to the Liquid Race to World first in like 2 days, I think 1.5 at this point, and I'm excited. But at the same time, I've got a lot to get done. But I've gotten a lot of questions about this stuff over the past 3 or 4 days, so hopefully this might have cleared up a few things for you guys. Like always, week aura and things down below. The week aura will indeed be updated for 10.1, I guess the raid, whenever the raid opens up and the patch goes live. But for the most part, it's still working now. Just got to add the tier bonus in. If you want any of that stuff, links to Twitch and Discord down below. We're all for free for you guys. To a similar extent, as always, I want to give a huge shout out again to my patrons. You guys, for all supporting on Patreon, thank you a million times. I really appreciate it. If you're looking at supporting on Patreon, should be a link up here, as well as down below. Week 1 in Aberrus, Warlock, before you get your tier bonus and all that, it might not seem as strong as we saw during PTR testing. Once again, Clash Rank is rare. It's rare for everyone. Lock is very high prio if you're playing Demonology for it, if it drops. If you're playing Destro and AF, not necessarily as much. But once Demo forms the Infinity Gauntlet, well, you know, we'll see where things go. At the same time, tuning could still hit, and if it does, I'm hoping that it hits either the Clash Trinket or the tier bonus and not Demo as a whole at the core of the spec, because the core of the spec is not overtuned. It is, I don't even want to use the word overtuned, but there are other sources of power that are making it stronger than what the spec does baseline. So we'll see where it goes. All that being said, thanks for watching, guys. If you liked the video, hit the like and sub buttons below. It helps out a ton. I'll catch you all again soon on stream. Peace.